Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here with my first impressions on Battleborn, a new game being put out by Gearbox Studios. Now it combines the ever-popular use of hero characters that fill a variety of roles, and it combines it with MOBA-esque PvP modes and a PvE story, all while emulating an FPS experience. Now with so many class or hero-based shooters coming out, we can't ignore the fact that there's a lot of them. How does Battleborn stack up against the competition? Well, that's what I want to discuss here. Now keep in mind, we are talking about a beta here, so things are subject to change before the full game launches on May 3rd. So let's get right into it. First up, Battleborn bears a strong resemblance to the Borderlands series in many ways, which isn't much of a surprise considering it's Gearbox we are talking about here. However, I did feel that this played an advantage to the game. The humor of the game is spot on and gets me invested in the characters, especially Isaac.
Well, Jeff, this is your last shot. Either you kill them, or they kill you. Or I kill you. I'll probably kill you, but be sure to kill them first.
Oh yeah, he's my favorite. Another thing it brings over from Borderlands is loot, which is something that we don't see very often in these kind of games. Now, upon winning matches in PvP or clearing bosses in PvE missions, running around looting chests, you can sometimes get loot packs or pieces of individual loot that you can use. Now, these armor pieces can be added to what is called a loadout, which basically acts as items that you can buy mid-match with this game's equivalent of gold, shards. Now, if you don't know what I mean by buy mid-match, think of League of Legends, how you buy items with gold, and you level up like that. It's very akin to that MOBA-esque type of leveling and progression system, though you have other things to do with your shards other than just purchase items. They can offer increased healing or regeneration with these items, damage, higher shields, and more, sometimes negative effects as well. This allows you to spend time hunting for loot to try and improve your performance in PvE and PvP aspects of the game. This added aspect adds a loot grinding part to the game, and adds an added dynamic on top of the PvE and PvP, which I already enjoyed with the standalone without any items. You can also buy loot packs with credits, which are gotten from completing PvP matches and story, and you can also again find them in loot chests and whatnot. Now, to be clear that these credits are not bought with real money, any type of that currency. It is in the game. Everything within the game currently is actually courtesy of the game's box price, which we will touch on later. So first, let's touch on the PvE and PvP modes. For the story missions, we got to play two missions during this beta, the Algorithm and Void's Edge. Now the first one, the Algorithm, has a slew of bosses, 4 total, and objectives that lead to an epic final boss. The Void's Edge is mostly a couple of bosses and escorting a robot through waves of generally weak opponents. I definitely preferred the Algorithm, which had several fun bosses for me and my team to take on. Now, barring special tactics to speedrun these missions, they can take anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes each, with a total of 8 appearing on the list, even though we could only play 2. On top of that, there are 4 difficulties, although technically it's 2 difficulties with a modifier. Now there's the normal and advanced difficulty, plus each of those has a hardcore modifier where you get no extra lives, so if anyone dies, they are donezo. The missions are fun, though the fun doesn't really ensue unless you really bring along a few friends or join a public match that has many other players. Seriously though, look at this. This is with one other person in the match. No, this is fun. Yeah, this is nice and chill. All right, now let's look at a clip of me with 4 other people on the team. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a lot different. It does scale, obviously, with the number of people you have, which just makes it even more fun to work together. Bringing tanks, bringing range, and bringing supports actually means something here when we're conquering these PvE encounters. Now, despite the fact that I did enjoy these, I do know that I'll likely be expected to farm these missions for solid loot. It makes me hope that they find a way of adding more variety to these missions through things like modifiers. The hardcore is a good start, but I would like to see more when the game fully launches. Perhaps it's already planned and I'm just not aware. Now, in the versus mode, we got to test 2 types of matches, Incursion and Meltdown, each taking place on their own map. Now, Incursion has you escorting minions up a lane lined with rebuildable and upgradable turrets to take out the enemy sentries, which are basically this mode's equivalent of what you would see in a MOBA as turrets. Except they are attacking a lot more than your standard turret would be. Similar to Smite, how they have the Phoenix and the end goal actually attacks you back. Now, there are also jungle camps that you can defeat to summon them onto your side, as well as shard clusters that you can contest to get additional shards so that you can upgrade your towers, or turrets as I should say, and buy items a little bit faster. Now in the other mode, Meltdown, pretty similar. You're attempting to push minions up multiple lanes, but you're trying to push them into an enemy furnace. Now the first team to hit the 500 mark wins, or the one with the most points at the end of the 30-minute timer. Now there are also turrets that you can build, just like in the other map, and shard clusters here that you should definitely contest. Easy review for the PvP modes. Both modes felt fun, especially Incursion, just to my own taste. But the matches did feel like they dragged out a bit, but that's most likely the result of both teams not really knowing how to push advantages, something that's very common in lower ranked matches. Despite the game even giving you audio cues to let you know when, let's say, half of the enemy team is dead, or 4 of them, or all of them are dead. I'd like to see shards have more uses in these modes to potentially snowball games and get them being a bit faster. Now, as for the heroes you're actually playing in both of these modes, I felt there was a decent variety in them. There's a total of 25 that are launching with the game on May 3rd, and it was nice that all aspects of these heroes are given to you in a pretty formal manner. Not only that, but everything about these heroes was unlockable within the game by either playing the hero over and over again or completing special tasks, adding a completionist aspect to the game that gets you hooked very quickly. This includes mutations to their skills, skins, taunts, and lore. Now, I will say this, the skins pretty underwhelming, so the basic palette swaps here really didn't do it for me. Now the final point I want to hit on is the price point in this video, which is a fully fledged $60 for this purchase. Now that's a pretty bold move when so many of these types of games are hitting the market at lower price points or just being outright free to play with microtransactions. Now let's go over it. Like we said, there are story missions. We count 8 so far, 25 heroes that will come with the game, solid PvP modes, and all of this may fit the price at launch, but Gearbox is actually promising a ton of free content updates on top of that. They're going to be adding new modes, especially to PvP, new maps, bounce changes, and community features. All of these are what Gearbox is expecting to release for free, along with 5 more free heroes. It says it right on their website. Now, that's not to say that they won't have paid DLC, as they have openly stated on their website that there will be 5 Battleborn packs at $4.99 apiece, each containing a new story mission, skins, and taunts. Now, of course, there is a season pass at a discounted price of $19.99, but it is good to see that these are not the only pieces of content that are being added into the game, and that Gearbox is fully intending to add things that are not part of the paid DLC. That's always a thumbs up in my book. Now, there's a ton of things I could go over, especially flaws such as the frame rate since I'm playing it on the PlayStation 4. Occasionally, the connection isn't very stable, but that is expected of a beta. Sometimes the controls don't feel quite as fluid on certain heroes, especially melee ones in my opinion at the very least, although it can probably be attested to the fact that it gets a little crazy on the screen, especially with the field of view you're given. Something, again, Borderlands people will probably be very familiar with. Now, I think it can coexist fine with the likes of all the other class or hero-based shooters that are coming out, especially Overwatch and Paragon, especially because Gearbox has developed a fan base through the Borderlands series. People will know this game and people will recognize it as something that they can really get together with friends and play and enjoy. Now, there are issues. Like I said, there's also the lack of cross-platform play, even just between the PC and PS4 versions, which isn't too surprising because they try to keep it separated between controller and keyboard and mouse. Having played both since I played Early Access, I can tell you I enjoyed the PC version a little bit more, especially with the frame rate being more consistent. On top of that, the fact that the price point for this game is a full-fledged $60, which is the standard for a AAA game nowadays, it's gonna look scary, especially next to Overwatch, which launches 3 weeks later and has a lower price point. One thing I'll say is, I've played both Overwatch and Battleborn at this point. I can tell you it felt completely different playing these two different games. Even the game modes that were specifically available did feel like they had a good amount of variety. That being said, I think they're both solid games. So pick one, play them both, doesn't matter. You should have fun either way. It plays well, it's great fun with friends, and it promises to deliver content-wise. Be sure to stay tuned for more of this Battleborn coverage. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and let me know if you would like to see more Battleborn content on my channel. I'm always willing to do that if you guys are willing to watch it. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, take care.